Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. So, sorry about that. I actually realized I forgot to make the map for Malta for you. And so here we are with it open. Now, granted, those hexes are probably a little bit too dark. I can lighten those up a little bit. So it doesn't have to be so dark for you. Let's try and see if this
I
makes
actually
it a
kind
little
of
better.
like it.
Yeah,
I'm good.
That's a hair lighter. So, and the hexes will move ever so slightly too as I make sure that it's mapped out the correct way afterwards. But for now, that's all that matters is that I have a map so you guys can see a Malta itself. So, as we're explaining kind of like the campaign, where you are, where you're going, so on and so forth, thank you so much for visualizing it in your mind. But to make sure that you can actually see it, a Malta, the nation that you happen to be in, is this, well, I suppose purplish grayish blotch in the middle here. What you're seeing to the far east, that orange color, that's actually the nation of Paradel. That's the one that they are at war with. That is the powerhouse of the continent. I mean, I think I have a map of Paradel of the entire Aroth here, but that doesn't matter for now. There's the powerhouse of the continents, the one that's at war on many fronts with many countries. It doesn't matter. They're being held at bay. You see Fort Glacier being held at bay by the ice wall that we had previously discussed. Yay! Moving on. To the north, what seems to wrap around all of the nation up there, that's Galdaria. Galdaria is much larger than a Malta when you see it. It's about, I don't know, 4 to 5 times the size of it. Galdaria is the nation that Malta eventually seceded from, right? That separated from and became its own nation away from. And then to the south southwest over there, that's Ascaria. That's the nation that we talked about a lot in Doxy's backstory in her session 0. That is the wealthiest nation in all of the continent. They're the wealthy bankers. They are also the ones that happen to control most magical material components for people to cast their spells and do the incredible feats like create that wall and whatnot. They're so close in proximity to a Malta and yet give them almost nothing. But then the nation to the south that you see over here, and Yovance is not a small nation, probably about 2.5 times, if not 3 times the size of a Malta overall. Yovance is the nation in question, the one that we were talking about, along the southeastern border of a Malta. As you can see where the orange meets that beigeish gray, it is very thin line between where it is that a Malta is able to hold Paradel at bay with their huge ice wall that is melting, and where Yovance, with a Malta's aid, is holding them at bay from taking the other side of the lake over there, allowing them to finally pour into a Maltese land. This is why the Queen, and before that the King, aided Yovance despite their difference in opinions in how to rule a nation and run a society. Happened. It's because without them, they are an open sore waiting to be, rotted away. So this is the border you guys are heading to. The capital, Heplon, as you can see right there on the map, is where you guys, where the beginning of this session primarily took place, or all of it took place so far. Right at that crux where, the river kind of splits and whatnot, right? Well, that being said, your characters are leaving. I think you decided, were you leaving later on this day or the next day after you finish preparing yourselves and however means you need to?
I don't think we fully decided yet, but there is one thing I'm going to do right away. And Oscar is actually going to start doffing his armor, which may be a little bit of a surprise to Laszlo in particular, that he's seemingly, dropping his
with the
guard.
spell.
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Lightning, actually.
But he starts doffing his armor, and as he does, it takes him a few minutes. Takes him like 5 minutes to doff fully, especially without help. But he does, and then he walks over to Laszlo, spear in hand, still, by the way, and then puts the spear down behind Laszlo, and places his hands on Laszlo's face. At which point he is going to cast the spell False Aura on Laszlo, which I will just put into chat there for you.
Oh, God, we really got to make a way so it presents a little bit prettier than this. But go ahead, sir.
Essentially, what I am doing is I am completely masking his aura to make him appear to be mundane as much as possible.
If I can rewind just a little bit, rewind time just a teeny tiny bit. As you were doffing your armor, Chrysalin would, out of habit, she would know her way around your armor, and she would start undoing straps and stuff for you. The ones that are harder to read. She wouldn't even realize she was doing it, but like she's used to undressing nobles. She's used to undressing soldiers. So she would just, and it would be quick and.
He does like when you start, he pauses, like he stops himself and kind of looks at you a little bit awkwardly, and noticing that you like don't even appear to realize that you're doing it, like you're just doing it out of habit. He continues, but somewhat hesitantly on his own, and then fully doffs it at this point. And he's wearing just like it's just a simple linen shirt and essentially riding pants as well. And he rolls up the sleeves and then walks over to Laszlo to cast False Aura on Laszlo, making him to appear mundane to the trained eye.
Okay, perfect. I believe there's a check required for you to successfully cast that spell, unless I'm mistaken.
It is actually a test against. So whenever someone is perceiving it, they have to beat an 11.
Because you took your armor off. That's why there's no check. That's why things are easy.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Yes, that's why I doffed the armor.
Okay. Sorry, that took me a moment to be like, wait, no, I thought there was a thing.
Yes.
No, you are correct.
What it actually is that if I don't doff my armor, I would have to expend basically all of my magic points to cast the spell.
Yep. Which makes sense because you're not a magic boy.
Instead I'm only using three magic points, and I am. It's a check against 11 using arcane lore to identify him as magical, to see past the illusion of false aura.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And in the amount of time that you were talking, I think I finished drawing up a map over here for you guys. So you can actually see the entire nation. So we have a little bit more detail for you. Give me 1 second to confirm that it's perfect. Well, as perfect as it could be. Yeah, I think we're good now. Cool. I'll drag and drop you guys over there so you can explore the actual map of the nation a little bit better.
So, you put a background. Thank goodness.
Oh, I did.
Map.
Yeah. Well, a water background, right? Because it's an entire continent, right? So this is actually
shockingly blue, though.
Oh yeah, I know. I thought so too, because there's only some basic colors you can choose.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Maybe this is a better color. Bam.
That is
so
much
much
better. Infinitely better.
Oh,
Just
man.
Immediately.
Yeah,
so much better.
it's better.
Oh, Josh is colorblind.
Yeah. Josh, trust us. It is better.
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
So now that you go based off the description I said beforehand, sorry, not to detract from that wonderful thing that you just described there, and I want to hear his response to it in a second. Anyways, you can see where Malta is and exactly how small that country is, just to ping it on the map so everybody can see where we're referring to, right? Malta is not a very large nation. As a matter of fact, it is almost the smallest nation here. Adir isn't even really a nation. It's just a chunk of land that has a name to it that's about the same size. And Silencio, which we saw a little bit of in Josh's opening there. Is that a little island up there? Is that a cute little island? Yeah, anyways, that was your backstory.
Good island. It's a good island.
Yeah, it's a great island.
It's nice.
So Malta is actually the smallest nation here. It used to be a bit larger, as a matter of fact, just to draw some cute little lines. No snapping right here. This little bit over here used to also be a part of a Malta, but and then you can imagine a little bit maybe over here a little bit at some point or something, but then the lines redrawn with the war because they lost a chunk of land and fell back to between these lakes, right? So you can see that it's been redrawn. Paradel
and that's where the wall
there.
is this tiny line right here?
Yep, exactly that. That is the border that they're maintaining because of the wall. And actually, if you were to zoom up enough on the other map that I have, you can literally see it's called like Fort
Glacier.
Glacier,
yeah. That's right, yeah. Which is like, it's literally built into the ice, which is kind of cool, you know? So anyways, melting.
It's flooded.
Yeah. There's some sub pumps, you know. So anyways, to give you guys a bigger understanding of what it is that you're dealing with, and also to give you kind of a view of how far Josh's character traveled. He went from like the northern edges of Eustace all the way down there. So he traveled about this far, 51 feet.
Yeah, but for a gnome, guys. A gnome.
Oh, Dean Cuddy's here. Ew, purge chat. So yeah. Anyways,
that's actually close to 800 and like 880 miles.
Yeah. And I can
real
change,
far.
I can change the scaling on this map in the future just so we have it as a reference point. And now that I've shown this map in this format on this show, I know that you're gonna have Neil complaining and Tyler complaining, because those are the complaining ones, that they're gonna want it on their shows. So that'll have to happen.
Our map.
It's our map.
Yeah.
They can't have. Look, this is on a Maltese map. What do they want? They have to come in here and take it.
I had to accompany the most boring photographer to get this map. Once they put out for an old man that only talks about cheese and his daughters.
You look
Then they
so
can
much
have
like
that.
my youngest. Like, oh.
Now, admittedly, cheese is a very interesting topic, but his daughters were incredibly dull.
I mean, that doesn't eliminate Neil, though. So
Yeah. True enough. All right, moving on. So
I like that I'm still Laszlo, by the way.
yeah.
Wait,
he
how'd you
was-
become-
yeah.
did you
I
become
just-
Laszlo in this format? Oh.
Yeah.
This format switched you guys. That's weird. That's okay.
Well, he cast a spell on us. We switched
Yeah.
places. It's Freaky
So-
Friday.
Yeah.
I
And now I'm a no.
That's cool. I didn't realize that I had done that before. Lock you, click you, and then there you are. Hey, buddy. All right, we're good.
Back to human.
All right. Should have changed your pitch and everything. Moving on.
Josh,
So-
you come to Chriselle and undressing you.
Josh,
Suddenly you're
that's
back
why I
to a
have
gnome.
That's why I have the spell up. You
Is it
know,
Josh, don't-
I'm getting undressed again. Hey.
Laszlo, don't look up. Don't look up. Okay, just do not look up. No, creepy, dude.
So as I finish like casting this spell on you, because it ultimately does just feel like you're kind of like dulled. Like you can see, like you can almost feel everything almost. If the magic felt like it was extending off of you before, it almost feels dulled.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could push past it, but it feels dulled around you.
Scott, is it possible for me to make that check, or are people not able to see their own auras and stuff?
No, because again, you have the ability to see auras to a degree. Again, we're doing like a little funny version of how exactly the magic works. You have to spend another MP and touch yourself and so on and so forth. It's kind of like one of those, like, spend the MP and just kind of like hover your hands over yourself and just see like what happens.
It's for the spell, not because of undressing. Okay.
Yeah. When I think about you.
I don't know, those lightning scars.
God, you
that
guys
does happen.
roll disgustingly well in
Yeah.
this game. So, God, you're just going to get better and better, which makes sense because your characters are not novice characters by any stretch either. Moving on. Yeah, you actually do not detect any aura on yourself, I don't think, right?
So the way that works is he can tell that there's a spell blocking his aura now. He
I
can
see
see his
through
own
it.
aura.
Yeah.
He can see through it, but he can also tell that the magic is there blocking it.
What you said.
It's like trapping yourself under a blanket with a fart.
Yeah.
Somebody with a good enough sniffer is gonna be able to fucking see that fart.
You're like, I know there's a fart here, but he also has a blanket really trying to hold it down.
All right. So I'll look at Oscar and go.
That's where
This
Doxy
is
goes.
this is really impressive. I can see my aura. I mean, there's some flaws to your craftsmanship, but
I'm not a
it's
mage
good.
by trade, but
You-
it should pass for most people around here.
Would fully be looking back and forth between you two like, oh no, he didn't. You gonna let him say that to you?
Yeah. And then he picks up his spear and stamps it down beside you, Laszlo, as he stands up and is now
taken.
much taller again than you, holding
Point
his
taken.
and then
Okay.
walks over to his armor and starts putting it back on immediately.
I thought you were going to walk the streets a normal soldier.
He doesn't put his pauldrons back on. So you'll notice when he puts it back on, he puts the armor back on, and then immediately, as you say that, he nods and he pops off the pauldrons, closes them together, and unhinges the cloak, now revealing his shield, probably for the first time for those of you who weren't necessarily paying attention to it. And he'll actually wrap the pauldrons, and he'll take the mirror and he'll wrap the pauldrons and the mirror separated by enough cloth, because the cape is a big flowy thing, so that they are essentially just in a bundle, and he'll tuck them into his bag.
So one of the important things to note is while the pauldrons come off, and the pauldrons are designed, of course, to add a degree of protection, they're mostly there for ceremonial for the looks. The armor is complete with them gone.
Yeah.
It just added that extra almost like a little shield off of your shoulders, like 80s, women's dress pantsuits or whatever, right? Like, those hard shoulder pads. So anyways, you get yourselves disadorned, and I still don't think you've decided if you want to leave now or later or whatnot.
Shall we?
If we have this discussion, Laszlo's would be like, I think we should leave immediately. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been here for a very long time, and I'm ready. Your carriage, right?
Give me 2
I'm ready
moments.
to do something.
Oscar walks up the stairs and comes back down with about a quarter of a loaf of cheese bread. It's focaccia, for those of you who are wondering. And he'll break apart it into 3 pieces and hand each of you a piece of the bread. It's not fancy wine, but if we're going to be moving, might be good to put something on the belly.
You have my gratitude, Benatar.
Thank you.
Yeah. And she would look to you and Laszlo and say, and do you have any trunks? There's room.
I have a bag. That isn't.
Sir?
He just hoists his backpack onto like his traveler's pack onto his shoulder, and just puts the spear there and just says, "That's all I came down with."
Perhaps we ought to go shopping. Rations and...
I have some rations left over from my journey. I have 3 pounds of dried food.
Do you hunt for sport?
Not for sport.
Do you hunt for necessity? For
When the
sustenance?
need
He
arises.
looks at the gnome.
When the need arises.
Perhaps that would do, and we could leave post-haste.
I agree.
You do know that if you need something, Master Venator, that you can just get it commissioned. Like, you can just go to the commissary and you can be like, we need food, we need this, we need that, they need some weapons. Basic stuff they're just going to give to you. You know what I mean?
I have one stop for us to make. I have to go see the quartermaster.
Right.
I don't have any money.
That's not a problem.
Guest. Okay.
That's not a problem. And he'll actually take out of his bag a full pound of dried food and hand it to you, Laszlo.
Oh, thank you.
And then he'll do the same for you, Chriselle, and give you
Would she
a
eat
pound
this?
of dried food. This is like
You just give her an
Turkey.
MRE.
I know.
this is a pound of jerky. This is meat. You're gonna be constipated.
It's a cube of meat. For some reason, it's a cube.
Oh, we have wine. We will not be constipated.
You guys won't be constipated. I won't be partaking in the wine. But he'll hand you dried food, and then just say, I do need to go see the quartermaster.
Let's.
Yes.
And so you guys head there. It's pretty easy to do so. A couple details to go over. Like I said, visiting quartermaster, wherever there happens to be a barracks or whatnot nearby that belongs to the Maltese army, you'll be able to get your hands on any basic things without having to pay for anything. It's all within reason, though. Like, Clearly, your character's not just gonna be like, "Can I have some swords?" Welcome to the nearest blacksmith. Sell them. Can I have some swords? It's not,
Yeah.
Because whatever you have as a necessity, they're going to replace it. They're going to give it to you. You need a new spear. You need a new shield. They'll give it to you. No questions. It doesn't matter if an old one breaks. You need some rations. If you need horses from one location to the next, that's fine. So it's within reason. As for you, Doxy, your establishment will give you things within lesser reason.
Right.
Like, for instance, if you're using your carriage, which you are right now, because you know that somewhere along the way there happens to be another house that you can drop it off in, then they would be fine with that. However, if you're riding it into a battlefield, they would be none too kind about that kind of a thing. And you know that the diamonds are not diamonds, sorry, the moissanite are already douchebags.
Oh, okay, sure.
So maybe you don't want to press that kind of edging. As for you, Laszlo, what you have as an asset is your mind.
And us. You can get things from us. Within reason, of course. If we're heading to the quartermaster, I'm going to ask for some throwing spears, 2 throwing spears, specifically because I don't have any now.
So specifically javelin. Oh, throwing spears, but
javelin. Throwing spears are a specific thing, so I'm going to ask for 2 of those.
Yeah. I think that's just this mechanic's version of javelin. Yeah,
there actually is a distinct javelin as well.
Oh, is there? Oh, my apologies. My apologies.
So in this case, I'm gonna be getting.
Isn't there actually a Roman weapon? What was called like an atala or something like that? There was like a throwing spear with a rope on it.
Yes, there's that as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be.
You're not
crazy.
The
harpoon gun without the gun.
Basically, yes. But I'm not going to be asking for one of those. He wouldn't conventionally use that. He's more of a charge at them and close the distance than a pull them to him type of person.
Yep.
But he would also ask for an additional 3 pounds of dried rations and
some wet ones.
Probably not. He's fine with dried rations, but then some water as well. Ideally 2 water skins full of water.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a wagon with you as well, and that is not a short distance that you're traveling. I didn't map it out on the with the actual thing there yet.
It's not short.
Yeah. So since you have a wagon with you, the way that this wagon is designed, because it's meant to be luxurious, it's meant to look beautiful and whatnot. There's not too much storage on the inside of the wagon itself, because it's supposed to be compartments for things like wine and entertainment and stuff like that. Things for her to either comfortably bring herself and have her makeup and whatnot, or to entertain whatever guests that she might be in, whether she's in town or outside of it, right? However, the underbelly of the wagon, which is why it happens to be like a little bit higher up off the ground, bigger wheels, which is good and bad. The underbelly on the outside, well, that has a decent amount of storage space there, and also the back of it has like a chest open area, decent amount of storage space. So I understand what you're asking for a personal level, but for the sake of travel, you can be like, can we get some supplies to travel to the southeastern border? And they'll give them to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is not without reason for somebody of your stature to say, can I also have a cask of whiskey? I'm not saying your character would, but like those small barrels that are like, I don't know what that'd be, like 5-liter barrels or whatever they are.
Get a cask of whiskey.
You can get things like that, you know?
So he would ask for a cask of whiskey and a cask of mead, because he's more of a mead drinker himself.
Yeah. And again, those are things that they would definitely give you. When you're of your rank, of your position. If you were just some basic soldier of master rank, there'd be respect, but come on, you're a Venator.
Yeah.
We should probably have one more group sheet for a group inventory.
Yeah, sure, for things like that. Now, things like what we're talking about here, more or less what I'm saying is, if you guys are within the region of a Malta, don't worry about basic supplies. If and when you leave a Malta, that's a different conversation.
Okay.
I will definitely put group supplies here.
And how far can we take my carriage?
I will deal with that afterwards, because I haven't actually put up a specific range yet.
Sure. Well, okay.
I made the one.
So Chris Ellen would 1000% full transparency tell these dudes that this is by no means a battle wagon. We're not riding this into
Brintel. I can tell you, sorry to interrupt you. Brintel is how far you can take it, which is about half the distance. I'm actually going to drag you over to the other map so you guys can see a little bit better, which is about half the distance between Heplon and the border, maybe a little bit more than. Okay? Yeah, it's definitely more than half the distance.
All right. And I would tell them. I would say, Well, around Heplon, or around Brintel, I'm sorry, we're going to need to find another
We
cart.
can get horses there.
I have
We can get a
experience
cart if we
riding.
need to, but horses might do the trick. We're going to be traveling, or wanting to travel, perhaps a little bit less conspicuously by that point, getting closer to the border. More likely to interact with soldiers, more likely to interact with...
For the first time, you're going to see Chrisellen blush and then indicate the bottom of the carriage where she has 2 other trunks full of fine clothes and things. There's 2 more inside.
A small wagon would do then.
Apologies. You have my gratitude.
No, necessity is the mother of invention. We'll find a way.
Okay. So you get the supplies and whatnot that you need, and you kind of can figure things out from there. Now, obviously, your characters are about to hit the road this evening, next day, whatever it is.
This evening.
This
Yeah.
evening, there we
They
go.
want to go. They're eager.
So you're hitting the road this evening and starting to head south and east, of course, along those borders. You were also advised by your queen to spend time amongst the people as you travel. You can also imagine, based off of what it was said by the commander himself and details you might want to pick up along the way, more so along the actual border between Yovance and Malta, to get a beat of the people. This is what you have Doxy's character here for, right? That's why we have Chrisellen here. Would your characters make any stops between here and Brintel, or would Brintel be the first real stop?
How many days would it take us to get to Brintel?
I was actually literally in the middle of trying to measure that out. I have to fix up the hex setup. I don't know at the top of my head yet.
Well, we would have to go to Isesh first, and then down to Brintel, because if we're taking a carriage, we've got to follow roads.
I'm also going to be insisting on stopping nightly or at whatever pubs or inns
Taverns.
or whatever taverns, yeah. Whichever comes second, right? Like every night at a pub, or when the pubs and taverns are sparser, every tavern we see.
Yeah.
We want to be stopping at least once a day, so that we can learn the people we're serving. I don't take orders from the queen that has tasked me lightly.
That is greatly going to expand the amount of time that you take, but that's okay. So a cart or wagon, generally speaking, travels about 16 miles a day, which is what yours will do. Now, most traveling, because this isn't like a boat or whatever where it can go all day long, that's assuming 8 hours of travel. I imagine we can kind of work that into what you're saying there.
Sure.
Is not over the course of like one day, 16 miles or whatever. That's over the course of like multiple days. So sometimes you're spending way too much time stopping at sometimes like, we haven't been there in multiple days. You know, that kind of a thing as you're passing through. Also, you're seeing obviously the large cities appearing on the map, the Isaac and Brintel, right? But there are small towns and villages and whatnot along the way as well, which is kind of what Doxy is referring to. Not all of them have taverns and inns. Some of them only have speakeasies or local rock, depending on the situation. But we can get into more of those details some other time. For now, what I can say is, for the two of you that haven't spent too much time amongst the people of Malta along the mainland, in these small towns and villages and whatnot, one of the things I want to point out is that the average person here, unlike probably every other nation on Aroth, has a degree of education. The average person, not everyone. Some people chose never to get educated. But they do have a public education system that, despite the war, despite the funding, assets, all the assets, everything kind of diverted that way, never stopped, never shut down. It's just interest in it kind of diminished a bit. But every town will have a decent number of people with a full-blown vocabulary. Almost everybody can read. Have a degree of learning. You can get in conversations about the classics of books that pretty much everybody learned a long time. It's one of the most amazing things about Malta is that they divert so much money into making sure that their people have the opportunity to choose their opportunities, as opposed to being born and living the life that they're forced to. And the reason why this is so important is that when you are forced at the age of 16 into 2 years of mandatory military service, that mandatory military service is non-combative unless you choose for it to be combative, or unless circumstance, misfortune leads you to be in a combat zone when you otherwise were not stationed to be, right?
I imagine if you're particularly gifted in the way of combat, they urge you to go that route.
Of course, just like in real life military recruiters, they'll push people that way, right? But you cannot be forced to do that sort of a thing, right? So, yeah. So they're not going to force you to do it, right? It's just if all of a sudden a fire erupts in the middle of your tent and people are throwing axes and arrows, it's, okay, I guess I'm in a combat zone. Moving on. That baseline education allows you to kind of direct a bit where it is that you're going to aid your nation and your military, whether it be decoding things or cartography or whatever it might have that they can utilize, which once again continues to expand your education and understanding in this world. So it all helps that people usually by the age of 18 to 20 come out of the military and bam, they're like people that have a lot of experience and training and go start their lives. Anybody that you meet here that's in their, like, say 30s or 40s, they carry that kind of old world understanding and experience and whatnot. They had that prior, like, beginning of the war or pre-war kind of experience that Malta always tried to have for their people, and it's awesome. The younger ones, however, a lot of them are driven very I have to join the efforts. Like, I don't want to do this. What if I get caught in a battle zone? Like, because it's a legitimate concern. Or others that are like, yes, I'm all in. I'm in it to win it. Sign me up for combat. I'm going 10 years, not 2 years mandatory. Like, it's this kind of like a divide that you see amongst the younger people. But despite this divide, whether it be the older, the younger, the for, the against, whatever it is, there's a very strong sense of national pride and a very strong sense of wanting their nation to hold true. And one of the other big things that you pick off these people is that everybody loves the queen. There's a fondness for her and her firm but gentle approach. You guys can actually roll me a history or
Historical lore?
What is it? Communications check. Either of those. Not historical lore or communications. I don't know if there's a specific communications that I would call for. I don't think so.
Would I just roll flat intelligence then? If historical lore is not available?
Yeah.
Fucking 19 from Grisellen. That's disgusting.
Doxy's killing it with these rolls.
And mine's not even a bad roll is the thing, but the 12 is
not.
Absolutely dwarfed by the 15 and the 19. Holy crap.
Well, I get a +5 right off the bat.
I just love that Doxy's character is actually the most intelligent character here. Because she comes off as like, yeah, of course I'll suck it. I mean, that's what you paid me. But she's actually a fucking brilliant person. Like, she's very intelligent, which is why she's so successful and why she's a flawless, which is top tier diamond and not anything less, right? Anyways, so with your 15, your 19, and your 12, no stunt points on anybody. All of you guys, sorry, what was I just talking about? All of you guys know that can kind of get the impression that these people kind of just assume of the queen what they assumed of the king that was here prior. And he served many years. He became the king when he was in his late 20s, early 30s, somewhere in that like 28 to 32 range. The exact year, maybe you don't know. Doxy 100% know. He was literally a few days after his 31st birthday. He became king, and he served up until his 80s. And he died as a ripe old man in his 80s of natural causes. You know what I mean? And people loved the king because he was very firm in the defense and the building up of his nation. He wasn't the person to put into place the national education system, but he was the one that built it. Like, it was somebody else's idea, and they instituted it, and he made it the foundation and built upon it. And so kind of everything that they thought of him, because she seems to come off as like a mini version of him, because you can imagine the advisors are the ones that kind of push her to be that way. People are fond of her just right out the gate because she's young and sweet and cute and comes off like her grandfather. So, anyways, that's what you guys pick up talking to the people. We are going to have your characters traveling, I'll figure out how many of these afterwards, from Heplon over to Isaac. And from there, we'll have our first real interaction. But that first real interaction, we'll have to wait until next week.
Ooh, cruel. You're a cruel GM.
Bad boy. Bad. So one of the other fun facts I'll give you guys, in case you didn't pick it up on Oslo's backstory, Amalta militarily is kind of broken into five different regions that people serve: north, south, east, west, and central. Central, as you can imagine, is where Heplon is, and those areas kind of like a little around it, right? So militarily, you guys are inside that central area where all the highest rank and most cushiest kind of this, that, and the other things happen to be. This is the area where, like, if you're trying to gain favor and jump rank and whatnot, that's kind of where you want to spend your time. If you're a man of action, it's the south and it's the east. That is where you go. And if you're boring, it's the north. And if you're a spy, it's the west. Alrighty. That's it for my lore dump. Speaking of dumps, hi Doxy.
Ah.
That was good.
Sorry. Doxy, how did you like your first session? How do you like your character?
Way more than I like my GM right now.
And tell us about you after you're done.
Well, my name is Iradoxy and I'm a dump, and you're not gonna like me, so I don't know why I would give you any links because I'm a dump, but I'll put my links in chat. I'll do it. Twitch.tv/ZER0DOXY. Please come hang out with me. I love you. Bye.
Oh, okay. But how do you feel about your character?
Oh, I love her.
Okay. I feel like she's coming out well.
Yeah, she feels right. Yeah.
Perfect. And I know a lot of people like to feel her. So next after you, Doxy, down the line from the current overlay that we have up, that's going to be you, Oslo. Sorry, Josh. Wrong one.
You keep
wrong
saying
one.
Oslo.
Oslo. Look, Josh and I are one now. We are Oslo.
Yes.
I'm just gonna Tesh and Jake you guys. So Will, tell me, how do you like your character? The opening for his Damn it, Josh! How do you like your character? The opening of the game sounds so far. Then tell us about yourself. God damn it.
I like my character. I like that he is very unsure about himself.
Very endearing.
Yeah, and he wants to be like, he doesn't want anything to hold this group back. So he's trying to be as honest as he can. I'm petting my hand. But other than that, you guys can find me at I'm Funny One on Twitch, everywhere else. I stream daily. At middle of the day, noon Eastern Standard Time. I switch for a couple hours, stream for a couple hours, and then at night for a couple hours. So come check me out. We have a fun time. I have a new Call of Cthulhu game that just started Monday. So if you guys want to check out a different system, check that out.
Absolutely. Call of Cthulhu, where everybody dies. Make a new character.
Mm-hmm.
Just kill Joey. And Wilhelm. Please, sir. Your character, and then you.
Yeah, so Oscar is he's fun so far. I'm interested to see where this goes because he is just as curious about this gnome at this point as I am. So I think it'll be fun to do a bit of discovery here with him as things go on. He's he's a 20-year military veteran at this point. He's got a lot of mages under his belt, and this one is different. So I'm excited for him to get a little bit of exposure to that. As for me, you can find me at Will N. Graham on Twitter and Twitch. I am going to have an announcement at some point, but that's it for a later date, unfortunately. I was hoping to have it for this week, but timing is what timing does, and that'll be soon. But yeah. But what about you, Scott?
Well, I'm excited we finally got started. I'm excited to announce you guys have one more session safe from chat. Right? Two more. That's right. The first 3 sessions
more.
you save from chat, and then session
Please,
4
please, I
I
need
didn't
it.
know. I didn't know.
they can't interact with you guys.
Not yet.
So all those data.
I thought they were just being nice.
No. Well,
no.
yeah, they'll be nice too. They'll give you guys luck points and scent dice and stuff like that. But right now, they're just watching. But after session 3, so starting session 4, they can do good things and bad things and all that stuff. I actually have it turned off so nobody spends it by accident at the moment. But they're gaining their daddies. Yeah. Actually, I owe Oslo a huge not Oslo, sorry, god damn it. Names in my head. Oklo.
These not even our real names.
His
Like,
name's
he knows.
Oscar. God damn it, Oscar. Where's Oslo? Oslo's the capital of Paradel. That's what I keep saying.
Oh, is that what you're doing? You're not
Yeah.
combining
Isn't it
Oscar and
also-
Laszlo?
I probably am doing that too.
A
But,
Scandinavian city?
Yes, it is.
Oslo?
It's in Norway.
Yeah.
so Osto. God damn it, the capital is right there on the map. It's Osto, Osto.
Man, you're
Moving
a
on.
mess.
I'm terrible.
On fire. Who's the dump now?
It's Josh.
Oh.
So yeah, the what was I saying? Sorry, Oklo. I actually owe a ton of daddies to. What's that? 5,000 daddies, I think it is. However it works, I owe a bunch of daddies too, so that'll be fun. Moving on. Yeah. How am I? I'm loving the characters. I'm loving all the interaction. I'm loving the RP between you guys. I think it's great. I think watching you guys stick true to the characters you designed from your intro videos is pretty awesome. Doxy probably has my favorite moment from this session, though. The immediately dropping down to a knee, lifting the goggles, and reassuring, which it spurred Will, and so therefore Oscar, to aid in the spurring him as you. And then when he tried to argue back, they argued again. Just been like, no, the fucking queen said it. You're a man. You're a real boy. It was like an awesome moment where you kind of just saw their characters like true good-hearted nature to this person that they don't know what he's done in the past, but they do know is the queen approved, and so therefore it's approved. I don't know. That was cool. Thanks. I appreciate watching that. I get to be a viewer too. All right. Yeah, Wednesday mornings, 8:30 a.m. EST, maybe a little bit earlier soon to compensate for the ending a little bit earlier, is Kingmaker. Thursday evenings, 9 p.m. EST is going to be this show, and Friday evenings, 10 p.m. EST is going to be the Regicide one, all intermixed with one another, all same world, same timeline, blah, 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 and relatively near each other. Regicide might start late, off and on, because I get out of work a little bit further. Why is it so loud? How do I turn that down? I don't know how to turn that down. It's so loud. God, okay.
Oh, is that the alert? You have to open it and do it, man, like inside.
Inside what?
When you open it, you can set each alert, like if it's
each
quieter,
alert
if it's
has its own
subscription.
level.
Usually if you open up the volume mixer and you turn down system sounds, that makes it...
No.
Streamlabs. Go into Streamlabs to do it.
I'm gonna have to.
If you go into the individual alerts, they all
Well,
have
I'll do
their
this.
own
I'll do this
volume
when we're not
levels.
live.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for the host, Hammer 54. I just have to make it quieter for me, so I'm not like distracted. So
No, I
anyways,
think we should sit here and walk through the steps.
Yeah,
Lowering
of how
each
all right, bye
alert.
everybody. You have yourself a great
Individual
evening.
volume.
If you hold on for a second, I'll find somebody to raid. Thank you so much, and we'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow night, and we'll see you next week.
And thank you, Scott. It was a fun session.
Oh, you're welcome.
You have my gratitude.
Thank you, Dump.